Welcome back to Morning Live. Let's now dwell on motorsports. As you're aware, what happened to Gor Mahia over the weekend, they were thumped 5-1 by Bakane. And of course, they're back in the country and blame game is all over. Still, they're doing well in the Kenyan Premier League. They are leading the table, and I'm joined by Mr. Gregory Mulemi and Stephen Ayo, who will now be taking us through that conversation from logistics, from the performance on the pitch to now coming back home. What went wrong with Gor Mahia? Ayo, yes. Karibu sana.
Thank you, man.
Gregory, good to see you, man.
Pleasure.
What happened to Gor Mahia?
Result on the pitch wasn't so good.
Okay.
Remember, they lost their first leg at Kasarani 2-0,
Okay.
so they needed to score at least 3 goals away for them to have a chance of progressing to the Confederation Cup semi-final.
What happened to your eyes, man?
No,
Viewers need to be aware.
I'm also wondering. I just talked to my doctor. We are still trying to establish the reason why I woke up like that.
It just started like that.
But I can see.
Oh, okay, no problem. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it after the break. Now, yeah, results on the pitch: 5-1 thumping. They're out, but still they're in, trying to make sure they salvage that situation in the Kenya Premier League. So you're saying something?
Yeah. It was really an embarrassing situation to be in. Basically, all those photos going viral of players, strewn on the airport, lying on the floor. For some reason, the seats were empty, but they weren't getting up there.
I'll be talking to Greg in a few about that. Yes.
Yeah, it was an embarrassing, really, situation to be in. I think their preparation was quite chaotic. There's been a lot of back and forth in terms of the management trying to explain this is the situation, players also trying to say this is the situation. So there was a lot of confusion. But at the end of the day, they set themselves up for that defeat, and for a team of Gor's caliber, the way they should be right now, continental heavyweights, as far as clubs are concerned, they shouldn't be losing 5-1.
Okay.
It's extremely unacceptable.
Okay,
Yeah.
Greg, do you think the way some people are actually describing the situation, Kahata was lying on the ground, was it stage managed?
I think it was stage managed, and I still believe it's
You
stage
think so?
managed.
Yeah, I think it was stage managed.
But then I also blame the officials because before they knew they were going to play RC Berkane, there are many ways to reach Morocco.
Yeah.
If they could have taken the route of going to Egypt, then Morocco, it could have halved the distance.
They chose France.
They chose France.
You
And it reminds me.
It beats me. It beats the
It
odds.
beats
Yeah.
the odds.
Yeah, when you want to go to France, then go to Morocco. Of
Yeah.
course, we have other options which are kind of closer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
best
And it
would
was
have been-
cheaper
cheapest would have been-
going to Egypt,
Okay.
then linking up to Morocco.
But iko tu mtu lazima angeguza France.
Yes.
Shida ya watu iko
Paris,
wapi?
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
The best
but-
option would have been probably going with Air Maroc,
Yeah.
Okay.
but unfortunately, I think for the last 3 years they stopped direct flights from Kenya to Morocco, the Moroccan capital. Yeah, so but basically this is something that they knew was going to.
It
to
reminds
occur.
me when Gor went to play Zamalek. The team had already arrived. The team went to Algeria and then went to camp they were supposed to camp in Egypt for the 1 week before playing Zamalek. What happened is that the Gor Mahia chairman, I understand, knew that there was something wrong going on. So he decided to pay for the hotels and accommodation from Nairobi. So when some of the officials reached Egypt, they went and found that everything has been paid. So they had already sent Rachier some funny budget, and they told them, no, I've already cleared the bill. So if you look carefully, someone is trying to make a kill out of Gor Mahia at the expense of the team. Because it's Gor Mahia making these officials travel, these fans travel, and everyone in Kenya was watching, everyone in Africa was watching that embarrassment at RS Berkane. So I think it's high time also the officials realize that without these Shakavas, the Oliech, the Tuisenges, then we are not going to, they won't travel beyond Awendo.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, stage managed the situation. Kahata, he's one of the players being kind of rumored he'll be leaving Gor Mahia at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for him it's about time. I think the last 2 years since pretty much Gor resuscitated his career, because we were not really hearing of Kahata.
From
So so coming back to Gor, I think he's shown what kind of a player he is. I think kiburi imemwingia, to be honest. Akona kiburi sana sahi.
Oh, is it?
Akona kiburi. For you to be the face of such kind of a protest, it shows that there's some ego that has gotten into you, which is quite unfortunate. Not to excuse really what happened, but there are things that we shouldn't feed to international media, especially given the fact that we are going to play such a big match. Gor has not reached this stage for years. Since they won the Mandela Cup. Was it back in 1994?
87. Now, but you see, also Kahata feels that he's a regular starter at the Harambee Stars. He's sure of going to the Africa Cup of Nations. He'll start anyway. And he's been to Albania. He's been to South Africa.
His passport is almost full.
His passport is almost full. So he has nothing to lose. His contract ends in 6 months' time. So he feels that maybe he's not getting enough. But you see, on the flip side of it, it also affects. We've seen great players in Africa lose some respect because of what they've done. I'll pick an example of El Hadji Diouf. He really led a lot of protests with Senegal, everything. So but he ended up winning nothing.
Nothing, by the way. So the attitude also really
matters a lot.
Okay, now, Greg, when you talk about even the whole learning process, now, was there a problem in the finances? Now, tell us about now how CAF actually communicates as far as now the funds are concerned. Do they pump the funds immediately after you qualify, or it takes time?
They're pumped in phases. In that right now Gor Mahia was in the bracket of earning 38 million. They won't bring all of it. It depends with the number of with the games you're going to play. So there's an allocation that was there for this match that was there. But the problem is maybe the channels that were used to transfer the money. And such are the problems that need to be addressed. In that Gor Mahia knew that they were going to play for in the continental matches. What they could have done is allocate a budget that could run throughout this period instead of depending on the CAF money that you don't know when it's going to arrive. If you look at how established clubs run their affairs, they have a budget. We are going to play in the CAF Confederation Cup. We have a budget of 200 million. How are you going to offset these bills and make sure that we work within this budget? They have a 65 million sponsorship from Sport Pesa. I believe it's for paying players' salaries and the technical bench. That one is already taken care of. Now you have, let's say, 100 million to prepare for the continental assignments. How do we raise this money? Nobody at Gor Mahia ever did that. They're only looking at the prize money that was going to come if they come from stage A to stage B.
Which I understand that I think CAF had already wired like half the money. I don't know whether it's half of the 38 million or whatever. But as Greg says, really, we shouldn't be the stage that Gor Mahia has reached. They shouldn't be waiting for CAF to give them money. They should be a club that can self-serve. They have to find ways of raising funds, and that doesn't mean appealing to Sonko, because I understand that Sonko wired 500,000 shillings to the players because apparently they said they were hungry.
So there was evidence.
There was video evidence. And you see, it's so embarrassing when a politician carries dollars. It looks like
absolutely.
But now that's the problem.
That's part of what is
that's
they always come on their
now we
problems.
politicize the football, and I think we also have to blame ourselves, in terms of how we do things, our modus operandi, basically as Kenyans, because we're always pulling off these last-minute things. Remember what happened with Kasarani, the first leg. Gor Mahia informed the stadium management that they are going to have a match there. Did they write a letter like 2 days before the match?
2 days before the match.
And
they assumed that Kasarani was always available for them.
So we just need to change how we do things, because I don't think this, even with the Harambee Stars, when we traveled to Cape Verde, I was lucky enough to be in that plane. I think one of the most scariest places I've been in terms of that plane was just something else. It was also all about preparation. And that is actually where we mess up a lot. And, this is Gor, a club that supposedly has money. You imagine now if it was an AFC Leopards, maybe they would have been stranded at airstrip or something. How they get themselves there, I have no idea.
I read something that it happened in Nigeria. An airline actually stopped en route to a specific destination, ikashukisha majamaa ikaeka kwa basi waendelee na safari. I think that could have happened to FC Leopards. But now Back to the local scene.
Yeah.
Gregory, you're seeing Gor Mahia. It's a different type of a team. Yes, Bandari kind of battled them out last time they met via penalties, but what do you think about now what can I call it? That sentence in terms of now going to win the league?
They will do a Juventus again,
Okay.
because you look at the position they're having right now. They're not convincing. I watched Sofapaka play last week. Which team was that? In Machakos. They looked like a very average team, like a Sunday league team. I'm sorry to say that because they were not convincing. They played very, very fluffily. It's something that everyone was wondering what's happening. You look at Bandari, they struggle to beat very, very, very average sides. When they meet Gor Mahia, let's say Tusker, Leopards or something, established teams, then they rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You look at Madara United, it's just the same old Madara United that wins its first 10 matches, then draws the rest.
Okay.
You look at Tusker, they have a very average squad. They've lost very influential players, including Hashim Sempala, who's apparently crossed the border to Gor Mahia, which means that Gor Mahia is strengthening, Tusker is weakening.
Yeah.
FC Leopards, they've not lost in their last 5 league fixtures, but it's a little bit too late. They cannot close the gap. So Gor Mahia leading with 44 points currently in the Premier League shows you that they know what to do locally.
Okay.
But then the math doesn't add up when they go away from home.
Does it mean the quality of the Kenya Premier League is wanting?
It is wanting, because I think over the last 5-6 years, Gor Mahia have been dominant.
Yeah.
They won 2 titles in a row, then Tusker
dislodged them once,
dislodged them once, then they came back,
still.
and they've been winning. And even this season, I think right now they're level on points with Sofapaka, and they have like 4 games in hand. That is 12 massive points.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think also given the fact that these players, the current players, the crop of players they have right now, have already gotten a taste of continental football.
Sure.
They've obviously loved it, and now once they've been knocked out, when they're getting back into the Kenyan Premier League, I don't think they'll loosen.
Okay.
They'll slacken, rather, to use that word, because they know that winning the league pretty much guarantees them a Champions League spot, and that's where Gor Mahia belong right now.
Absolutely.
So it's just a case of them now, recollecting themselves now and focusing their minds on the league. And I don't think right now they're beatable as far as league campaign is concerned.
We tested Kariobangi Sharks on the continental showpiece. They did well. From my side, they did well. Now, do you think the likes of maybe Bandari, Sofapaka, if they're given this chance to represent Kenya in these continental assignments, do you think they have the pedigree to go all the way? Because now Sharks shocked everyone. We didn't expect Sharks to reach where they did. So do you think maybe Bandari? Yes, no experience, but what do you think, Greg?
To be honest, I don't think Bandari have the pedigree to compete in the continental scene. Sofapaka have the experience in the continental scene. There's a time they reached the second round of the CAF Confederation Cup, and they lost via penalties to St. Lupopo.
Sure.
So that shows they have that experience. In Kenya, I'll always count on Tusker, Gor Mahia, Sofapaka, and maybe Leopards. Just maybe Leopards. Because Tusker were finalists in the 1997 CAF Confederation Cup, by the way, when they lost the second leg at home 3-0 to, was it DC Motema Pembe? After they drew 1-1 away. They came here, I don't know, they went to Burma or where. So it shows you that at least on it's just like what we see in the Champions League, in the European Champions League. In that, experience really matters a lot when you go to take part in the continental scene.
I think for me, we have to really look at the new clubs that are coming in. And you're talking about Kariobangi Sharks, and you're talking about Bandari. I think these clubs, they're bringing something fresh to the Kenyan scene, because as he says, we don't have so many success stories. You talk of Sofapaka, talking of maybe they've gone to a certain stage once. You're talking of Tusker, they've gone to a certain stage once. You look at a team like Kariobangi Sharks, which is, I think, one of the most exciting teams as far as just how they play is concerned, not the results really, but even the results beat. They reached the Confederations Cup. They won the Sportpesa Super Cup. So for them, I think they're building with time. They're building with time, and Bandari are kind of also getting in there. Remember, before the last 5 seasons, they used to, get in the league, they get relegated, get in the league, get relegated. But right now, they've found that level of stability, which also can be attributed to the fact that they are sponsored by the Kenya Ports Authority, basically, which for them organization is key. When organization is everything, and also Sharks, you know, the leadership at Sharks also. So I think we just need to have that kind of organization. Then I don't think there's any limit as far as what these clubs.
Yeah. So as we wind up,
I could say Kariobangi Sharks are doing the right thing in that they have a very young team.
Okay.
They have a young manager who might be giving them some hope maybe for the future. But the problem is, will they hold on the players, let's say, for 3 more seasons? For Bandari, I see it's just an average side that has stuck together for quite some time, with Coach Mwalala really making everyone work 100%. The problem is they don't have anyone who's standing out like the likes what we see with Gor Mahia. We have the likes of Oliech, Tuisenge, we have Kahata. For Bandari, you want to pick someone who really struggle. And you're done.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Let's hope Gor Mahia will now dust up, go back to the drawing board and make sure things happen. Congratulations, you beat Chelsea 2-0. I understand. That's why we didn't even touch on that topic, but it's still, well, that's a topic for another day. What do you think about Harambee Stars, Algeria, what is it, Tanzania and Senegal? What do you think?
Beat Tanzania. Beat Algeria.
Dreams. Anyway, I'm not hitting. Greg?
We're playing Senegal in our last group match. That gives us hope. Pick 4 points from the first 2 matches and you're in.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. My name is Nick Mudimba. Jay Somondi. Wahig is coming up next with Full Circle. Stay tuned to Switch TV.